The Desolation of Smaug.
Now, I loved The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. Despite its flaws and slight bit of kiddishness here and there, I thought it was an amazing film, so of course I was excited for The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug, and I have to say that this film really just outweighs the first one in almost any way and is definitely one of my favorite films this year. The film picks up right where the first one left off, the journey continues, and from the second that the film begins, right from the get-go, you're thrown in to the adventure. I mean, the dwarves and all, they're moving on, and I think what I liked about it is the unending consistency and the pace of the film. You know, I didn't find that there were any kiddish moments. There were such amazing moments throughout the film. It's emotional, it's funny, it's intense, it's something else. With regards to performances, I have to say that the film is just as good as the previous one, and it still has a lot of new characters though, so there's a lot more development in terms of performances. I thought the acting was great all around. You get to see a lot more of Richard Armitage as Thorin Oakenshield, which is great because I love that character, and his portrayal of Thorin Oakenshield in this film is phenomenal, where he portrays a character he's just eager to get back to Erebor and to complete the quest that he at times is willing to give up on some of his companions, and that kind of dilemma that he goes through is something I found very interesting.
You have no right to enter that mountain.
And of course, Martin Freeman as Bilbo Baggins is great as he was in the previous film, but I have to say there's someone I really want to commend. Benedict Cumberbatch as both the Necromancer, but of course more so as Smaug. Smaug the Dragon is by far the most vicious, extremely just scary, evil villain that I've seen in films in a very long time, and he's very interesting as a villain, and it's just so amazing to see this Hobbit Bilbo Baggins communicate with Smaug and try to get Smaug to let him go, and that made for some of the best scenes in the film. Now, of course I have to compare this to the original, why not? But the music in the film, I didn't think it was as large in terms of the musical score, but I thought it was far more of a personal score. A lot of people I spoke to did not really recognize the score in this film as they did with the first one, but I think because it just plays thoroughly closely with the emotions. Like, there are times in the first film where you notice the score, but in this one it just flows so smoothly with what's going on, and I think it's far more of a personal and slightly deeper score. The visual effects, I gotta say, are much better than those in the first film. I mean, almost every aspect is just a step up. Like I said earlier, the pacing of the film is so consistent, the flow is phenomenal. And there are a lot of side characters as well. Luke Evans' character of Bard is a pretty interesting character to watch on screen, and all of these characters are given the right amount of time. They progress the story, they push it forward, they all have a bit of emotional motivation. You get to learn a lot more about each of the dwarves as well.
Stand now, Elfling. Death is upon you.
The flames of war are upon you.
One of the highlights, apart from Smaug, is the barrel scene. Everyone's talking about it, and I have to. The barrel scene in the film is one of the best directed action scenes I've seen in the past few years, decade, I don't know. It is the level of filmmaking that Peter Jackson has displayed in the Hobbit series so far, more so in Smaug, in the Desolation of Smaug. It's something else. Even the production design of this film, I mean, then again, you get to see Lake Town and all, which you didn't get to see in the original film. I think that in almost all respects, the film has been stepped up. I thought the cinematography was better, the visual effects were better, the acting was kind of the same, the score I found more interesting, and there's so much to enjoy in this film. I'm almost at a loss for words, really. I mean, you sit down in the theater and you leave 160 minutes later, but in those 160 minutes, you don't move, you don't twitch, you don't do a thing. You're there throughout the adventure, and this is a lot like the middle part of certain trilogies in the sense that it spans the shortest amount of time which is something that I've always found interesting. Example, the Dark Knight trilogy. The Dark Knight only lasted a week. This lasts maybe a few days as compared to the first film, which lasts a lot longer. And the ending of this film, it rocked me. I mean, that's all I can say. I'm not going to spoil it, but the ending of the film, I'm just looking forward to The Hobbit there and back again, because Unexpected Journey delivered, The Desolation of Smaug has delivered, and The Desolation of Smaug, without a doubt, earns a triple yes.
It never ceases to amaze me. The courage of Hobbit.
I am king under the mountain.